Welcome back to the Junkie Sports Podcast today. So today's episode with the NBA season about to tip off here in the next few weeks, we are going to do the winners of the 2020 NBA offseason. But before we hop into that, we're going to kick it over to Davis for our fun fact of the day.
All right.
Davis?
Thank you for that great lead in. So the fun fact of the day is Trevor Ariza, after this offseason, is now the most traded player in NBA history. He's been traded 10 times. In this offseason alone, he went from Portland to Houston, who sent him to the Pistons, who finally traded him to the Thunder. So that is your fun fact of the day.
That is a very interesting. I think Trevor Ariza, at least a few years ago, was more of a little bit of a sought after player, 3-and-D. So definitely interesting to see him get traded so much. Probably frustrating for him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll go ahead and kick it off with my first winner of the offseason. I think without a doubt the best team that did the best things in the offseason by far, in my opinion, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep.
I mean, they set themselves up to repeat not only for next year, but I think they have really added some nice young talent for in the future if LeBron gets too old or moves away from this franchise. I mean, they've got some pieces here. I'm picking up Marc Gasol. Beautiful pickup. Montrezl Harrell off the bench. Dennis Schroder, I think, is going to fit in unbelievable. When they got Dennis Schroder in that trade, I said right then and there, like, hey,
GG's.
they're winning it next year. And then they added all these other pieces. Wesley Matthews, to me, upgrade over Danny Green. Athletic, younger, way better. I think losing Rondo and Avery Bradley are going to be the two biggest hurts, but they didn't even have Bradley in the playoffs. And I think with all of those other additions they had, I think losing Rondo is not going to be that much of a hurt to them. Because you got Dennis Schroder, who can be that secondary ball handler to LeBron. I think getting AD on that max contract was expected, but I think just having that signed up is a good thing. And then also getting LeBron signed up for 2 more years with that contract extension. I think the Lakers are easily and by far should be the runaway favorites to win the championship next year. And I think other teams need to start making moves for next year, especially with next year's incredible free agency class, because at this rate, the Lakers might be looking into a three-peat.
Whoa. They got a two-peat first, David, so we'll see how it goes. But no, absolutely. Without a doubt, the Lakers have solidified themselves as having the best offseason. That's crazy to think of because, they're just coming off of a championship. Not a lot of people were expecting any big moves to be made by Rob Pelinka and the ownership there and Jeannie Buss. But, here we are talking about how great of a offseason they had. And I think you really keyed in on a lot of the main points. But for me, Marc Gasol is the one player that I'm really excited to see fit into that system, only because last season with with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee and some of those bruisers that they had down low, they didn't really have the capabilities of stretching it out at the 5 and so, I don't know. I think having, former defensive player of the year, Marc Gasol, come in there. And I don't know. I think, yes, Avery Bradley is a big loss, but like you said, they didn't have him available at all during the bubble. And so then they bring in 2 6-man of the year candidates and Montrez and Dennis Schroeder.
Yep,
Like, this team is going to be nutty. And if there's one critique that I have, they should have got rid of Kuzma. I said it.
I agree. I do, and I don't know if getting rid of Kuzma is out of the question yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see a team try and make a move there going into at some point throughout the season. I'd love to see them get rid of Kuzma and go get a better player. Honestly, I just don't like Kuzma that much. But I do have a question: is who do you think is the biggest win for the Lakers? Who's the player or the move that you're like, that to me is like the best thing they did in the offseason?
Like getting rid of or acquiring or either?
Whatever you think. What was the best thing they did in the offseason?
Um, I'd honestly say the Wesley Matthews upgrade. And this is why. So, yes, Danny Green has had championship experience with the Spurs and the Raptors and now the Lakers, but, he was underperforming and he was getting paid a lot. And so, if you bring in a younger guy like Wesley Matthews, get him on a cheaper contract too, and, he's most likely going to be performing better than Danny Green did at any point last season. So, I think in terms of what you're paying, for that shooting guard position. I think that's the biggest win that they had.
Yeah, I know for me, I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but it's the Dennis Schroder trade. I think for what they gave up in return for him,
No,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
a couple of picks and Danny Green, and you're getting Dennis Schroder, who I understand is on that expiring contract, but um, he's just such a nice pickup, and like I think he just fits so beautifully with LeBron and AD. I mean, he can be that secondary ball handler. He's a great defender. He can shoot the three. He can play off ball. He can play on ball. I mean, I just think he fits so well into what they need. And so I that to me that was the biggest thing. And I see Schroeder, especially if they have a good year this year, and win the championship. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him resign, especially if they utilize him really well alongside AD and LeBron. Because some of these other pieces, I mean, Wesley Matthews on a 1 year deal, Marc Gasol's on a 2 year. And I fully expect Montrezl Harrell to opt out of his contract, even if they win the championship. I think he just wants a ring and then leave. But I think Schroeder's gonna be someone that's gonna stick around for a while because I mean, as I was saying, like setting up their team for that younger talent. I mean, if you look into a couple years in the future, like if LeBron's not there anymore, like a team of AD and Dennis Schroeder is a very good team. Add in some other pieces there, like that's a good team. And so, to me, that was the best move they had. That trade was perfect for them.
Yeah, and I definitely think going back to the whole Kyle Kuzma and why they didn't get rid of him. I mean, at this point, they have all these dudes under their payroll, and their salary cap figured out, and they have a lot of veteran players, and so at this point, trying to hold on to some of their younger talent so that they can see if they progress and move them in the future, and see if they can get more value later is not a bad business decision for them. But no, I definitely agree with the whole Dennis Schroeder situation. And the one thing I wanted to ask you about is I don't know if you saw some of the beef that was kind of percolating around the whole who's going to be starting at point guard. But Dennis Schroeder's like, I want to be starting on this team. And I don't know who is like kind of saying that he's not going to, if it was like one of the coaches or what. But like, do you think LeBron should be facilitating that offense, or do you think Dennis Schroeder has kind of solidified himself and proven that he should, you know, kind of take some of those responsibilities off of LeBron? Because in my opinion, I think LeBron should continue running it and allow Dennis to, be that six man like he has been. I know it's asking a lot for Dennis Schroeder to be coming off the bench once again. But with how LeBron has, adapted his game as he's aged and gotten older, um, I mean, we've seen what he's capable of doing as a point guard. And yes, it kind of doesn't allow for some actions, but they've developed this offense already around him being their point guard. So I personally think it's probably a better business decision for them to allow LeBron to just continue taking the ball up the court, use his elite playmaking and court vision and, run the offense. But wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, for starters, also like, cause I heard a lot of those rumors. I also just think they are rumors that the media wants to use to stir things up right now when we're not playing any games. I think
Fair.
if anyone in the NBA has ever had the history and track record of having no locker room issues, it's going to be LeBron James. I mean, I think without a doubt, this locker room is going to work. I don't think there's going to be any significant issues. I think I trust in how they decide to play Dennis Schroeder. But personally, I'd like to see him um, starting, like kind of playing almost the Rondo role with more minutes. I don't want to see him start in the games. I'd rather have like LeBron get AD going early, and then I want wait because LeBron usually goes off really early in the first. That's how his minutes kind of got played out last year. I'd like to see Dennis Schroeder come in when that happens, run it for a while for the rest of the first. And then when they play together, I kind of want to see them do like split the ball handling between the two of them because I mean, LeBron actually played really well with Rondo, like really well. Because LeBron's a great player. He can move off the ball. He can do a lot of different things, post up, all sorts of things. And I mean, Dennis Schroder is by no means the passer that Rondo is, but he's still a very proficient passer, and I think he can do a great job facilitating that with LeBron. I think the two will be able to play off each other really, really well. Um, that's the way I kind of see it. Is they'll kind of just split it and sort of thing. I don't think they're gonna have like you're our ball handler, you're not, or something like that. Because I mean, they both. I think their games complement each other enough. So